Well, let's speak to Andreas Krieg about this. He's an associate professor at the School of Security Studies at King's College London, and he's joining us on the News Hour. Good to have you with us, Andreas. So concern there from UNIFIL in Lebanon. As you heard, we've got another closed military zone along the border with Israel and Lebanon, a third division of Israeli troops joining the ground operations there, it would seem. What does that indicate to you? What do you think and where do you think Israel's campaign in Lebanon is heading?
This is the great concern from the beginning, is that Israel is operating in a strategic vacuum. They don't really know what the political end state is going to be. They know what they want to reach tactically and operationally, and the fear is that they're going to string together some very random operational objectives to kind of create an overall plan. The fear of that is that as they're not making progress on one objective, they might try to make progress on another. And overall, this could lead to mission creep, where they're doing a lot of different things and going from small objective to small objective without actually achieving the overall war aim. And that's been the issue in Gaza all along, where they win battles, but they don't win the war. And I think that's what we're likely going to see in southern Lebanon. I mean, they haven't made any major progress despite the softening, let's say, of the defences of Hezbollah in the south through artillery, through heavy airstrikes, and then they advanced in with quite a lot of soldiers and armour as well. Haven't made the progress. A lot of heavy fighting, a lot of casualties on both sides, but particularly on the Israeli side. And now they're trying to shift more soldiers to another part of Lebanon and fight there.
But what is the overall aim of the campaign in Lebanon, and what sort of resistance are they facing from Hezbollah right now? Because it's been said time and time again that if it was to come to a guerrilla war, that Hezbollah would have the upper hand on the ground.
No, absolutely, and it was to be expected that despite the fact that command and control and also command structures and communication structures have been eroded over the last couple of weeks, that these little cells of resistance would keep on fighting. So in the infantry field, this is where Hezbollah is right in the heart of what they've always wanted to do, fighting the idea of face to face in short sort of distance to one another. The objective of the Israelis has been trying to capture the main holdouts and strongholds of Hezbollah in the south, eroding their capability to strike rockets and drones from there, and especially destroying the tunnels. That, again, being an issue that we've seen in Gaza, 12 months, and definitely more than 40% of all tunnels still intact. So unlikely that they're going to make a lot of progress here. And it's not going to be a swift operation. So when they're talking about a limited incursion, I can see this creeping already into a major escalation and an invasion. Let's call it what it is. It's an invasion.
Right. And what I guess, as we heard from Marwan there, nobody knows where this is going, right? And all eyes are also now on Iran and Israel's response to the Iranian missile attacks, right? The Israelis have said they will respond. But what factors do you think they'll be taking into account in that response? And how could that also escalate further?
Again, the Israelis are very focused on a tit-for-tat war. They're wanting to respond. They're wanting to restore deterrence and escalatory dominance, and they're trying to do this without kind of giving the Iranians another reason to retaliate. So whatever happens now has to be bounded, despite the fact that the Israelis are saying we have to respond in full force. It has to be worse than what we did in April. There's also concerns that obviously if you strike too deep, you kill too many Iranians, you cross too many red lines within Iran, then you will have a sort of all-out war and a response from Iran that Israel can't sustain. So I think the Americans are the key here. They're the factor that will have to make sure that whatever Israel is doing is going to be bounded, that strikes on military bases might be okay, IRGC bases might be okay with limited casualties. Striking oil refineries, striking the nuclear program, for example, I think these are not the sort of targets Israel should be going for, and the Americans will make that very clear, because you're risking losing, US is risking losing their allies and partners in the Gulf, because they're not interested in this all-out retaliation from Iran. So the idea should be, from the American point of view, a limited strike, which hurts, restoring deterrence, but an off-ramp as well at the same time to make sure Iran doesn't have to respond forcefully after.
Thank you so much, Andreas. Always good to get your insights on the situation in the region. Andreas Krieg from King's College London. Thank you.